Welcome back to Mixed Machines. So, last episode I left you off. I took my panel, naturally aspirated for a little cruise down the street and back. It went well, got everything, got parked back in here. The next day after that, I put it all back together with the superchargers on it, and before I turned on the camera, I figured I'd crank it over because I left the batteries hooked up, make sure the batteries weren't dead. Well, I cranked it over, and it went 2 spins, and then it started making this weird popping noise. I was like, well, that's strange. It should be making any noises. I took off the belt, made sure it wasn't the supercharger making noises, so it wasn't. Plugged the vacuum canisters on the supercharger, make sure that wasn't making a vacuum leak or anything, because it sounded like a blown out gasket or something of that nature. But had all brand new gaskets again, and no noise should be being made like that. Unfortunately, I didn't think of grabbing the camera and filming it and be like, okay, this is what's going on. Because at that point, I was just defeated. I was like, it was running great yesterday. Why do I all of a sudden have a problem now? And what my problem was the oil STP combination that I use had an issue with the heat and the fuel. When it mixes the fuel and the heat, it made it pretty much like a glue-like substance, like a tar. And it filled up and it was in my valve guides and everything. It filled all that all up. And it just super glued my #1 cylinder intake completely shut, where it actually pushed the stud out for the lifters. So it pulled the lifter stud out instead of bending push rods or messing up the valve. So that's what happened with that. That's why the video is running about a week late. So after that, my brother got home from work. That was a Saturday. The next Sunday, he wanted to go to the Cars and Coffee that was over here, bring it over there, but so he ran jammed on it. So he pulled both heads off, pulled all the valves out, cleaned them all down, and the #1 was absolutely stuck. I had to hammer that one out. So I was definitely never using that mixture for valve guides ever again. That's just going to be a straight oil from now on. But, so after that, so that all went terribly. And you know, of course, it happened overnight with the heat and the fuel mixture. Once it cooled down, it got that super sticky-like substance, like a tar. And that was just terrible. So after that, tore the heads off, cleaned all the valves out, put it all back together, put it back together, got it running again, adjusted the valves again, did everything that I already did, showed you, and got the superchargers back on. Well, the day after that, instead of going to there, I'm still working on this. And again, right before, because I wanted to do a test and tune video instead of putting it all back together video and doing all this work again video. That's showing you 3-4 times now because I keep having to take it apart. After that, put it all together, was running it. It was running great. Idle, run. I was like, okay. So I was wanting to check my AFR, make sure it wasn't running too lean or anything before I started doing the test tune video, to make sure there was no damage that was going to happen right off the bat with it being too hot for being super lean. So I checked that, good. My brother was working on his truck, and I was like, yeah, no, we're running pretty rich right now, like 12, I think it was around, but that's without making boost. He's like, oh, well, that's not making boost. So I go, okay, I'll make see if it makes boost. I was sitting there revving it up a little bit, let it down without making boost. I was like, okay. Like, so you find, I think I was like, go grab the camera now and start shooting the video of testing and tuning it. But before I did that, I matted down the pedal a little too hard, where it started to make boost, and it instantly blew out the gaskets for the superchargers. So with that, I was like, okay, well, I can't make a test and tune video. I had to take everything down again. So we did. And with that, they're like, okay, well, those gaskets, it's the third time it's happened now. They're obviously not going to work. So we remodified the superchargers and my conversion manifold. So now we're on to this. So here's our conversion manifold 2.0. And you see here we milled out around it, so it has O-ring now on the for back here, and up here we're making boost at. And then we also made it a little easier in the back here to get to the furthest back bolts. Then we're bolted onto the manifold, so we have this open area in the back, and then the rest of the bolts are still on the inside. So we got version 2.0, and then we also added 2 more bolts in the back superchargers back here. So I cleaned off some of the paint, just I could with the wire wheel deal I had. Anyways, so you can see back here, we added a corner, another bolt hole, and we're using this other bolt back here now. And that should take care of our blown out gasket issue. So with all that, we should be able to, there should be no more issues, and we should be making boost today. So let's put it all together and see how much easier it is putting version 2 on and getting her fired up. Okay, so I got it all back together. I'm at this point, I'm ready to start it again. Version 2.0, see if it makes boost. But before I do that, I'm going to give it an hour or two or so to let the silicone dry some more to give it the best chance of sealing. So I'll see you back in a few hours. Then we'll be ready to light her off and see if she makes boost. So I'll see you in a bit. So before I start it, I'm also going to tell that I plugged off my little vacuum canister. So right now it's going to be full-time supercharger duty at all times. There's going to be no bypass for it at lower idle. We're going to do that to tune it. I had to get fuel back up to the carburetor. Why are you not turning on? Oh, there it goes. So I have some valve noise on my left side here. I'm going to pop that valve cover off real quick and take care of that. Now that I'm getting it with the somewhat of idle. Alright, so when we left off, we were having we had the mysterious ticking noise, which sounded like the lifter. So you see how I adjusted when the engine was running. So I put my wrench on there, I backed it off until you really start hearing a hard clacking noise. And then I tightened it back down, and that solved that issue. So I did all my lifters, and they're all good. Or not lifters, my rockers. I did all my rockers. So I solved that issue. That's not my rockers. They're tight. But when we turn off the vehicle, give it a few minutes, and you turn it back on, it's a very prevalent noise, very loud. So we're thinking it's a lifter. So I took the cover off again, and we started checking them all. Goddamn tree, get your leaves out of there. So I started checking them, and we were making sure that I didn't have any bent push rods or anything. So I'd make sure they're nice and correctly adjusted. And then you can spin the push rod with your fingers, like that. And it feels smooth all the way around, so it doesn't feel like it's bent or anything. So next, I went through, then we tried looking down with a bore scope, seeing if any of the lifters were collapsed. Or like permanently collapsed, but no, they all look like they're up and they're all okay. Right here. So this is my cylinder number 4. I can't see where the camera's at, so I don't really know what I'm showing them. Well, I gotta get it down there first.
Come on, come and do it my feel. V1, worst skill.
So, right there, tell me if it moves. I don't know if it's going right there. Alright, so you see right there, this is my exhaust lifter, and you see if I push on it, grab my rag, that I could push on it. So you see how there's a little bit movement right there? Lifters aren't supposed to have that kind of movement. They're supposed to be solid, pretty much. You're not enough spring force where you can't push on it, like I can with this. You can see, I push it down, I release it up, and I can push it down. It's just a little tiny bit, but that enough is enough spring to cause that noise. So that's what my issue is, so I'm going to have to pull the top and everything back off again and change that lifter. And there goes my camera.
Save it.
Toodaloo, audience. So using a nice little tool, borescope, which is made to go down and look through your small holes, the camera. Just quite nice to have. Luckily my brother had one and we could use his. Alright, so you see how it's squishy there, and we were able to push it down by hand. You're not supposed to do that with the lifter, so therefore we're thinking that lifter is bad. It failed at some point of running the engine again.
Or just bad from the start.
Or just bad from the start and just finally got to the point where it was worn out. So I'll be back once I have everything torn apart again, and I'll have a closer up of a failed lifter. I got a different lifter in there. You see, this is the one I just took out. Nice bottom still. And this is one of my old ones that got in and out, which was brand new. So I'll show you. If I try pushing this one down, I can't move it. But if I try pushing this one down, yeah, it's got that much movement in it. I took it apart, I looked at it, I really didn't see anything wrong with them, other than it doesn't have much spring tension like the other ones do. So I swapped it out for one of the new ones from this kit, from the original set we have with the old cam. I ran through my cam again, 2500 BPMs for about 30 minutes. Unfortunately, it still does have a little bit of a tick, but it's just going to be a noisy lifters or whatever the noise is. It's going to stay. And now we're going to see if it makes boost. Try and give you a bird's eye view of it. We're going to fire her up and let her idle for a second. You're going to see a lot of smoke. There's a lot of oil on the headers. No fire or anything. It's just burning off the oil that I dripped on the headers. And since I got that fiberglass wrap on it, it kind of soaked in a little bit. So it's going to be smoking pretty bad. No worries. It's just that. Alright, we're going to fire it up and see if she makes boost. I can still hear it. I don't know what it is. Cam and everything looks fine. What I can see of it. I switched out that lifter and it's still ticking. I adjusted them all again. Still ticking. So let's get a run until it dies. What? I can't hear.
Were you talking to yourself?
Camera.
Oh. Like some of you talking.
Ready for it to blow up? No, just sitting at 14 when I just shut it off. Plug the screwdriver back in. Oil pressure, everything's good, so.
Black smoke there. See what it went up to?
That's going to 12 to 13. That's going 11 to 13. So that stayed around 11 and 12 right there. That was probably up to 2,500 RPM. But I'm not seeing a boost on the gauge.
It should start building about 2,500 RPM.
Yeah. It's staying around 10 on the vacuum. It shot up to 6 for a second.
Huh?
When I first stomped on it, it would shoot up to 6.
Yeah? Keep an eye on JFR. Good. Fucking goes below 14. Get out of it. Or 15.
Went straight to 17. If I'm stomping on like that, it goes straight to 17.
Yeah, well, Oh, if you stomp it like that, you can hear it fucking spool up super hard. I wonder if the car is not letting them suck enough air through, right?
I have the air cleaner off of it too, so.
I don't really know. What was that, a 650?
Yeah.
Oil pressure, you good?
What?
Oil pressure good?
Yeah. It stays at 25.
Temp good?
Yep. 180. Okay, so the last clip you saw was us trying to make boost with it. As you see, we're having issues. If we slowly ramp it up, it's not making boost, it's staying around 10 vacuum. And then if I stomp on it real quick, it'll jump the boost up to around 6, but then quickly die off. So we're thinking that our carburetor isn't big enough and it's not giving that airflow it needs, where the supercharged can really suck it down. So with that, I'm going to be getting a new carburetor for our next video and getting that on there and see if that changes anything. We also did the calculations of what the boost was supposed to have and everything with the configuration that we have for the engine, the cam, for everything. So we're thinking that our carburetor is small. We're going to replace it, see if we can make it better. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you'd be so kind to like, comment, and subscribe. There will always be more videos of my truck here, getting her ready, getting her running right. And once I'm probably done with this, I'll be getting back on my Cougar, getting that ready, getting that one running. So until then, thank you, and see you in the next one.